host, BKP. Good Monday morning. I'm glad to be back here. I don't remember Friday, Lonnie. I just don't remember it. But what a beautiful weekend. A little cool in the mornings, a little cool this morning. Beautiful weekend. I'm making an effort this morning to make sure that I do not get sidetracked, lose my train of thought, let the train leave the tracks, all the above. Make sure that I stay focused, stay on point. I'm working on that real hard this Monday morning, because I got a couple stories we have to work on today that I need to stay focused. Spent all weekend, Lonnie, on the side porch. I read most of a good book. I uploaded about 19 individual videos from the Board of Education meeting at Fannin County. We'll talk about that a little later today. I cut about 19 individuals so you can watch those uncut. I put those up. I read this GBI report concerning an investigation on Blue Ridge Police Chief Johnny Searcy. I read it, no exaggeration, probably 7-8 times. I highlighted, made notes on it. I did that, smoked several cheap cigars, and Saturday night even found time to watch a B movie. I did all of that, Lonnie. Every bit.
So basically what you're telling me is I've got a shiny new penny and I just got to find the right place on the tracks to place it.
What?
Have you never heard that? Oh,
yeah,
really?
I understand, but I don't know where you went with that. So let me stop. The ideal is for me to stay focused. So this is what you do. Now, folks, let me go over a couple things. We have exactly a week before election, so next Monday morning will be what we're calling Candidate Day. And let me explain what that is. We can't have every candidate, but we're going to start at 8:15 next Monday morning. So you have all week to look at election 2016 on FetcherNews.com. We will spend the entire week making sure we have all the videos up, all the interviews, every story we can find under election 2016. You go to FetcherNews.com, election 2016. We will work the entire week to try to make sure we get everything up for you to look at over the weekend. I know I'm not knocking on anybody, but I know several that actually make their decision this weekend. So no, don't want that taken wrong. Not that you haven't paid attention or anything, but never too late. So next Monday morning, let's start out with this, will be Candidate Day. At 8:15, we will start 9th District Congressional candidates. We'll have Mike Skupine, Roger Fitzpatrick, Paul Brown, Doug Collins, and Bernie Fontaine. They will all have 15 minutes to ask for your vote. We won't be doing any hard interviews. There will just be 15 minutes to ask for your vote. We will have those starting at 8:15 Monday if you still are wanting to meet these candidates before you go vote. Now, we'll then move into the 51st District State Senate candidates. Now, out of the 9th District, 4 have confirmed. They have confirmed their time slot for Candidate Day. Doug Collins has not returned an email yet, but we're sure that he will return that email. We'll try to get in touch with him today. But 4 of those candidates have confirmed. Now, 51st District State Senate candidates, Steve Gooch, Senator Steve Gooch, and John Williamson. Williamson has confirmed his time slot for next Monday, and Steve Gooch has not confirmed at this time. Then we will wrap up Candidate Day next Monday with 7th District State Representative. Sam Snyder has confirmed his time slot, and so has Speaker of the House David Ralston. He has confirmed his time slot. So we're just waiting on, right now, we're waiting on Steve Gooch and Doug Collins to confirm, and that will give us every candidate for the 9th District, 51st State Senate candidates, and 7th District State Representative. Next Monday will be a full slate. You're going to want to tune in, listen to all the candidates. They are going to have no hard interview. What I mean by that is that'll be the time when we're allowing FetcherNews.com, FYN TV, election coverage. We're allowing the candidates. They've been out there going to barbecues, and they've been at farm shows and forums, whatever, meet and greet. They've been out there, and it will be their time to ask for your vote. So that's next Monday. Now, this morning at 8:30, our guest will be Gilmer County probate judge candidate Scott Chastain. And the 19th, this week, we will have 51st State District Senate candidate Steve Gooch in here. No, John Williamson, not Steve Gooch, John Williamson. I got sidetracked. All right, he will be in here on the 19th. Now, folks, I'm not watching any of the news, and I'll tell you why. Let me give you a couple good reasons, okay? First of all, I'm not concerned with the Donald Trump stories this weekend, all right? I'm not concerned with them. We just watched President Obama okay transgender bathrooms. And you want to watch all the news cycles and you want me to come out. President Obama Friday threatened every school in the United States. In fact, any politician out there listening today, this is the biggest issue of the day. You need to get on this issue immediately. When you go to Fannin County, and I'm going to use some round numbers, and there are 2,000 people, and out of 2,000 people, I'm going to give 50. I'm going to give them 50. So there's 1,950 people very upset with what the federal government, what is happening in their school system, what's taking place in their schools as transgender, and 50 are in favor of it. I'm just going to go with that. Then, folks, I don't care about third party. We don't need to be talking about third party right now. We don't need to be talking about Bill Kristol is going to bring in a new candidate to run against Donald Trump. Donald Trump said, concerning the transgender bathroom issue, it needs to be left up to the states, okay? We're concerned that 30 years ago, Donald Trump made a tape. We're concerned of something that took place 30 years ago with Donald Trump. And we have the President of the United States sending a letter Friday stating that if you do not allow students to use the bathroom of the gender they identify with, you will be in risk of losing federal funds. And they want to talk about Donald Trump 30 years ago. Folks, Bill Clinton, let me get this real quick. Bill Clinton, flight logs show Bill Clinton flew on sex offender's jet, much more than previously known. Well, hell, you say. Bill flew on the jet. Former President Bill Clinton was a much more frequent flyer on a registered sex offender's infamous jet than previously reported, with flight logs showing the former president taking at least 26 trips aboard the Lolita Express, even apparently ditching his Secret Service detail for at least 5 of the flights. 5 flights, no Secret Service, according to records obtained by Fox News. Clinton's presence aboard Jeffrey Epstein's Boeing 727 on 11 occasions has been reported. Now, we know Epstein's Boeing 727, all right? We know that there's accusations that young girls ages 14 to 17 engaged in illegal sexual activities. In 2006, at the request of Palm Beach Police, the FBI launched a federal probe into allegations that Epstein and his personal assistants had used facilities of interstate commerce to induce girls between the ages of 14 and 17 to engage in illegal sexual activities. Folks, and we're concerned on how Donald Trump treats women. According to the court documents, police investigators found a clear indication that Epstein's staff was frequently working to schedule multiple young girls between the ages of 12 and 16 on literally every day, often 2 or 3 times per day. Folks, flight logs show Bill Clinton flew on sex offender's jet. Sex offender's jet. A pedophile, Bill Clinton's on the plane, ditched his where am I going here? Ditched his Secret Service detail several times. And we're going to talk about Donald Trump. Folks, leave the news alone right now. Leave it alone, please, okay? Now, the transgender issue up in North Georgia here with the where is the governor, okay? Where is Governor Nathan Deal? Now, I'm going to get to the Johnny Searcy story in a minute, all right? Where's the governor? Where's Governor Nathan Deal? Lieutenant Governor, Texas Lieutenant Governor denounces White House transgender guidance. Okay, this morning this came out. My internet's not running as fast as it should. Everything running good over there, Lonnie? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's just me. Okay, we'll go with that then. Let's see.
Yeah, my stream's still going good, so.
All right. I'm trying to find this one story here. There's several states. Let me just leave it at that. I can't find the story right now. Okay. But there's several states that states push back on transgender bathroom use. Politicians in Texas, Arkansas, and elsewhere vowed defiance, and other conservative states could follow suit after Obama administration told public schools across the U.S. on Friday to let transgender students use the bathroom and locker room that matched their gender identity. Yes, folks, I have gotten the cartoon of the dog in the cat, what do they call that cat? The litter box. I don't have a cat, so I don't know. The litter box saying, I felt like a cat. I know all the cartoons going around. So to match the gender identity, it's heartbreaking. The federal government's guidance was met with tearful praise from parents of transgender students. But let's look at this. Let me see where the states are. I had it here a minute ago. Okay. Texas Lieutenant Governor said the state is prepared to forfeit billions rather than let the Obama administration dictate restroom policy for its 5.2 million students. All right. Now, the fact is, GOP Governor Asa Hutchinson of Arkansas said schools should disregard the directive, which he derided as social engineering. All right. I mean, from North Carolina to Kentucky, all over, they're coming out against this. Where is Governor Nathan Deal? So what I did is I searched everywhere to see what the Georgia governor how he stands on this issue. Okay? And so I went to his press releases because I can't find anything. And his press releases from Nathan Deal website, Sparta Industry to create more than 1,000 jobs in Milledgeville. He's still out there talking about his job creation. This is May 10th. May 10th. Job creation. Maybe he was out this weekend doing fundraising. Maybe he was dedicating a bridge or helping a politician put a sign up over a highway, naming it after somebody. The important things a week before the election. Let's see. On May 9th, schools statewide received $6.9 million in technological grants, grant awards. Oh, there's a big one. Here's one on May 9th. Dollar General to create more than 500 jobs. Nothing on the governor's website. So I tell you what, I said, let's go over to the Attorney General because I know Sam Mullins has actually spoke out about this. So I looked everywhere for the Attorney General, and I notice here, Attorney General Sam Mullins announces $8.8 million settlement with family dermatology. Oh, I mean, I'm looking all the way down through here. I can't find anywhere where there's anything been said. Now, the only person in the state of Georgia that I can find that has said anything, and I'm going to say this with all due respect, is Speaker of the House David Ralston. But maybe the reason he waded into this is because Fannin County last Thursday night was the scene of national, state, local media and thousands of people watching this, all right? So House Speaker David Ralston enters Fannin County flap over bathroom rules. Now, I always like when the AJC, Jim Galloway starts out his article by saying, first, some background from FetchYourNews.com. Hey, I'll take it when we get it, right? So first, some background from FetchYourNews.com. So they put a little background in there. And then they put some more from Channel 2. And then they put the speaker's letter in here. Speaker David Ralston wrote a letter, and I'm going to try to be nice about it because I'm not for sure why this letter was written and what good it could do. Dear Senator Isaacson and Perdue, I am writing on behalf of the citizens of Fannin County, which I have the honor of representing in Georgia General Assembly, to ask for your assistance. As you may know, the Fannin County Board of Education and School Administration have been forced to consider changes to policy regarding restrooms so as not to lose federal funding. Now, if you're one of the 2,000 up there the other night, you need to understand you have absolutely zero support from the state level. You have absolutely zero support from the federal level as far as your Georgia representatives are concerned at this time. Don't let them tell you anything. Georgia knew that North Carolina was writing their bathroom bill, as they call it, their transgender, use the gender on your birth certificate bill. They did nothing. Georgia passed a religious liberty bill. The governor did not sign it. There was not enough uproar in the state to get the legislators to go back to Georgia and override the veto. So don't think. Also, all of your Georgia congressional representatives and Senate representatives, I remind you today, like I always do, what do I always remind you? Republicans have had the House of Representatives. Republicans have had full control of the Senate. Republicans have had the House of Representatives in the state of Georgia. The Republicans have had the Senate in the state of Georgia, and the Republicans have had the governor's house in the state of Georgia. Why are things the way they are today? Period. You make the decision. If you think that your local, state, and national representatives... Now, the other night when Lynn Doss said, call them, County Attorney of Fannin County said, call them. When they gave their reasoning, nothing. I am writing on behalf of the citizens of Fannin County, which I have the honor of representing in Georgia Assembly. I ask for your assistance. As you know, the Fannin County Board of Education and School Administration have been forced to consider changes to policies regarding restrooms so as not to lose federal funding. So as not to lose federal funding. In all due respect, Mr. Speaker, the Lieutenant Governor of Texas said they're prepared to lose billions before they will allow social engineering in their schools. Nobody in Georgia, that's the bottom line. They are cowards in Georgia. They will not touch that money. Oh, no. You will not touch the money bucket in Georgia. Anything comes between the money bucket and the federal government in Georgia, no, you won't see them stand up. No backbone there. I recognize the sensitive nature of caring for and educating children, and the intent in bringing this matter to your attention is not to single out any individual student or group of students. Rather, my concern regarding the issue is that the federal government is dictating to our local Board of Education with regards to policies that enact in a way never seen before. Folks, everybody knows the federal government's dictating to your local boards. They've been doing it for years. Everybody knows the state is dictating to your local boards. They've been doing it for years. It was really a disgrace to have to see the local board of Fannin County and the superintendent stand there for 2 hours and 45 minutes and just take one hit after another from the local people. I've always said all they want your local Board of Education to be there for is so they could have somebody to complain to that the bus was late picking up their child. Well, this was one hell of a lot of 2 hours and 45 minutes of saying the bus was late to people that had no power. They're powerless. They have been hiding this. I'm sorry, folks, because they don't know what to do with it. All right? Using the power of the purse strings to bring such change is, in my opinion, a vast overreach of the federal authority, and that must not go unchallenged. I recognize that there are no easy answers. Yeah, there is. There's a real easy answer. Pull the kids out of school. We'll talk about that. But decisions on issues such as this should be left to local elected school boards and should be free of threats and coercion of federal government. I would urge you to look into the matter and take appropriate action to protect our students and our local educators from the heavy hand of the federal government. You have both been and continue to be champions for reducing the size and reach of the federal government, and we are fortunate to have you representing Fannin County and the entire state in the United States Senate. Thank you for your continued service to the people of Georgia. Very truly, David Ross. He wrote that to both the senators. Now, I told you, you don't have to like it. I'm telling you, do not vote for Johnny Isakson. What's he going to do with this? What is David Perdue and Johnny Isakson going to do with this letter from the Speaker of the House? How come it's not being followed nationally, right? Nationally. How come? I'm going to take a brief break. I'm going to come back. I'm going to work on the Johnny Searcy story. I'm going to have my guest, okay? I'm going to have my guest, but I wanted to make a comment, okay? I said this the other day, and you didn't like it. I got a message. You didn't like it. You said, what are you trying to say? I'm not trying to say anything. I just say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Actions speak louder than words. All the above. But the actions of Barack Hussein Obama, the President of the United States, are not those, I'm going to repeat what I said Friday, not those of the first black president of the United States. If I was the first black president of the United States, in fact, I probably would be if elected. I got soul, brothers. I got soul. Okay, if I was the first black president of the United States, I just have to tell you, the brothers would be okay. Yeah. There would not be today the black male unemployment there is today. Now, I'm not saying all these things would be the correct thing to do. I'm just saying if I was the first black president of the United States, I would lower the black male death rate. I would stop immediately the crime on black youth and black males or all blacks in Chicago, the murder rate. I would stop. I would put a stop immediately to the weekend massacres in Chicago. I would focus on making sure inner city schools for black children were better funded, had better access to textbooks, all the above. I'd get them all new desks. I'd get them all new iPads. I would rather see right now every black child in the United States holding up a new iPad that the first black president purchased for them. These are the things if I was the first black president. Blacks are no better off in Ferguson. They're no better off in the inner cities. They're no better off in Baltimore. They're no better off in Flint, Michigan, where a black city council has allowed them to drink water with lead-lined pipes, tainted with lead. They're no better off in Detroit, LA. No inner city in the United States, St. Louis, is the black race any better off, and he's the first black president. I would say he is the first LGBT president. Now, I don't know what that means. Don't know what you take from that. But let me tell you something. He has championed the LGBT community and their fight and their direction much harder as if he was gay and not black. Just saying, folks. Just saying. Look for yourself. I didn't do it. He's doing it. I mean, who's doing better? Black children? Or children that want to go to the bathroom of their choice? Transgender. In today's America, what is better? The Chicago schools where a 8 or 10-year-old kid is sitting on a front stoop on the summer and a drive-by shoots and kills an 8-year-old black child, or the president defending a second grader that does not yet know totally what's going on in this world's right to decide to go in a bathroom of the gender that they identify with. Who's doing better? Now I'm going to do this real quick, and then we'll take our break. I promise we're going to do the Johnny Searcy story. You stay with the show. We're going to do the sheriff's story. Why a sheriff's office is so important right now in the United States of America, and why we wrote the story of Blue Ridge Chief of Police Johnny Searcy. If you stay tuned, my promise to you is I will do that story this morning. But before I go to break, okay, perhaps, what pair of glasses do I need? Perhaps as stunned as Obama's administration's iron-fisted on the issue of transgender bathrooms are the arguments that employing in an attempt to justify it. Many of us, of all colors, were taken back, to say the least, when Attorney General Lynch compared the transgender bathroom issue to Jim Crow laws, really drawing a comparison between the struggles of transgender individuals and blacks. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Let me tell you something. I have black friends, and they know who they are. Understandably, many blacks are just plain outraged at Obama's administration appropriation of civil rights to further its own ideology agenda, including our Colonel West. Now, let me get down to here, okay? This is a statement. The president of the Coalition of African American Pastors says that the Obama administration's assertion that single-sex bathrooms are discriminating against gender-confused individuals in much the same way that blacks experience discrimination in the United States is a gross insult to all who fought for equality for African Americans. That came from the Coalition of African American Pastors. There is simply no relation between the struggles that black Americans have faced and the desire of a tiny minority group to violate the dignity and privacy of women and girls. said Reverend Bill Owens in a statement sent to Breitbart News. To suggest some sort of equivalence is gross insult to all of those who marched with Dr. King and faced fire hoses and hatred in the name of equality. Folks, I got to end this story, but I'm telling you, this is the issue that will change America, and I don't mean transgender bathrooms. I mean, you're going to see people build schoolhouses again. You're going to see one-room schoolhouses again. You're going to see a group of parents get together and build a little school, and they're going to get together and teach their children together. I'm telling you, federal funding is going to dry up. The people are going to quit sending their money to Washington, D.C. They're going to take being arrested first before they'll give their money to public education. This will be the end of public education as we know it in the United States of America. We have been waiting. I want to tell you, we have been waiting for Republicans to end the Department of Education and dismantle it for how long? How many years? But in one swoop Friday with a letter, President Obama may have just ended the Department of Education unknowingly because the American people are going to fight back and they want no part of it anymore. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. I will be doing the sheriff's story today. I understand you do not, you may not be able to stick around, but please do and tell your friends. I will do that story. And also, stay tuned after these messages. Gilmer County candidate for probate judge Scott Chastain will be with us right after these messages. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. Lonnie, take us to break. And folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. I have to run at 9:16. I have to do a radio interview. I'm going to be on a station over in Athens. George is going to come in at 9:18 and take over the reins for about 20 minutes. So he's ready to go. I bet you'll be excited, and he's got plenty to talk about. Obviously, the president has everybody's got plenty to talk about right now. But that being said, I promised you, I wrote a story on FetchYourNews.com, and I'm going to get to the bullet points. And let me tell you why I wrote the story, okay? Now, in 2004, allegedly, Blue Ridge City Police Chief Johnny Searcy vouched for a guy to get a loan. But the guy he vouched for was it was actually not the guy that actually, they lied about the name. Long story short, okay? This guy goes in the bank to get a loan, BB&T of Blue Ridge, says he is somebody he's not, can't find his identification, says, hold on, I'll go over to the loan officer, which a loan officer knew Chief of Police Johnny Searcy. I'll go over to the police department and have the Chief of Police Johnny Searcy call you and tell you who I am. Okay? Well, that guy happened to be Rick Jones. And he passed his name off as William Prowse or whatever. The entire story is on FetchYourNews.com, Fannin County. Now, so he goes over and he calls back to the loan officer at BB&T, and Chief Searcy gets on the phone and says, yeah, I know, allegedly, yeah, I know. Prowse, I've known him for 10 years. Yeah, I play softball with him. So the guy ends up getting the loan on actually somebody vouching for him. The loan officer had the right to do that based on the amount. She could do a signature loan and a vouch, and supposedly, allegedly. Now, throughout the investigation, GBI got involved in the investigation. The full story is on FetchYourNews.com. Now, there's a couple points I want to make in the 10 minutes I have. Number one, let me just tell you today, and I'm not taking up for anybody, okay, I promise, but I want you to stay focused here. And if you live in a sheltered world that you don't know this is happening through the United States of America, hey, let me share this with you for the first time. Again, not taking up for bad people. But all across the United States of America, there's a lot of people today that don't have the money to get an attorney. They don't. They don't have the money to get representation, so they get a court-appointed attorney. Now, I'm going somewhere with this. So when they get a court-appointed attorney, and I'm not knocking court-appointed attorneys, but go look at a major city or a big metropolitan area and look at the caseload of a court-appointed attorney. So what happens is these court-appointed attorneys get all these cases and they plead them out. Boom. So you can go to any court in the United States today, and there's a whole lot of people that have no idea what's about to happen, and they stand before a judge, and an attorney says, just say yes when I tell you to say yes. Okay. Just say okay when I tell you to say okay. Okay. Next thing they know, the judge says, hey, Your Honor, my client, blah, 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 did this. Did you do it? Yes. Okay. Boom. You're out of there. You have no idea what just happened. Just a judge just got you through the court and you're gone. You don't know what you got, okay? So there's a lot of people today that are sitting that came out of these courts, and they're stacked up. And I'm not taking up. Let's reiterate. I'm not taking up for bad things that happen. But they got stacked up felonies. They don't know what happened. They're not 100% what took place before the judge. They're not 100% on what their attorney did. All they know is they go check their record and they're stacked up with these felonies and they didn't have the money to get an attorney. Now, just saying that, let's fast forward. Johnny Searcy was being investigated by GBI, the Chief of Police of Blue Ridge. Now, when he was under investigation, Special Agent Williams, when he was first interviewed, he popped off and said, I'll take a lie detector test. Now, there was 2 counts here that he was possibly facing. There was 2 charges he was possibly facing, and because of his position as Chief of Police in Blue Ridge, both counts were felonies. Now, you got to understand, if this case would not have miraculously disappeared, and Chief of Police Johnny Searcy would have been indicted through a grand jury and went to court and was found guilty, guess what? He would have 2 felonies and he would not even be qualified. He would not be allowed to qualify to run for sheriff today. Now, a lot of people might look at the case and say, why are you bringing up a case from 2005? A, because this guy wants to be your sheriff. B, if you read what happened and see what took place, you'll say to yourself, wow, I'm a little concerned this guy wants to be sheriff. And last but not least, the guy wouldn't even be able to vote, let alone run for sheriff, if former District Attorney Joe Hendricks mysteriously dropped the case. Now, there's a lot to question here. You have to read the entire report. If you go to fetchernews.com, you will see the story, Johnny Searcy, Chief of Police, refuses to take a lie detector test. I have posted the entire GBI report. The loan officer, what happened, all of the interviews. Now, what I'm saying is, Johnny gets interviewed by GBI investigator, Special Agent Kim Williams from GBI, and Kenny Crook, the investigator. First thing he does, you ever know, if you don't know Mr. Searcy, he can get mad real quick, okay? So he pops off and says, I'll take a lie detector test. Interesting. It seems in the report he mentioned 2 or 3 times he popped off he'd take a lie detector test, okay? Now here's what I'm going to challenge you today. If you call your local sheriff, if you call your local city police chief in your area, the majority of them, most of them will tell you that if they have an officer or a deputy that's under investigation. And during the investigation, they are asked to participate in a polygraph test and they refuse, it is grounds for termination. So one questions why the city of Blue Ridge did not terminate Johnny Searcy in 2005. Because here's what happens. So he keeps popping off. He'll take a polygraph, okay? You got to read the whole investigation to hear it. I don't have time to go through sheet by sheet, but I will do it throughout the week for you as I have time. So, and you go read it today and you'll understand more when we talk about it. So, they schedule him a polygraph. Well, then he says to Agent Williams, if you read the investigation, it says, hey, is the bank loan officer going to take a polygraph? So I don't see no reason. Agent Williams said, I don't see no reason to, because when you read the report, all direction leads to Mr. Searcy, I say allegedly, is guilty. All of it is. Even the report says that his story doesn't add up. And he told a different story to GBI and the district attorney. That's in the report. List goes on. So he says, yeah, I admitted that I'll take a polygraph test. So he went over to Cleveland, Georgia. They scheduled him a polygraph test. So Chief of Police Johnny Searcy, he sits down, and what they do is they do a pre-polygraph interview. So the person that administers the exam started doing the interview with Chief Searcy, started doing the interview, going through it. It's all in the report. You can read it. Okay? As she's doing the interview, Mr. Searcy just decides, he said, nope, I'm not taking a polygraph, and he gets up and leaves. Walks out. Walks out. Decided he wouldn't take a polygraph. Now, folks, I'm going to tell you something. Why did I bring this up? Because something mysteriously happened in this case in 2005. Why am I bringing this up? Because this man wants to be sheriff. Sheriff, this is what this man wants to be. Why am I bringing this up? When you read this, when you read this whole entire report on FetcherNews.com, you're going to say, wait a minute. I know people every single day that do less than this, or I know people every single day that can't go vote, or I know people every single day that didn't have the money to get an attorney, and next thing they know, they're a felon. I know this happens all the time. How did this guy get away with this? Allegedly get away with this. How did he? Right? Go look. 2 possible felonies. If Joe Hendricks, the former district attorney, something stinks, folks, to the high heavens. Stinks. Because in 2005, the city council of Blue Ridge should have dismissed. You see, this guy walked in. He didn't do it. He didn't ask Johnny to vouch for him down at the coffee shop. He didn't ask Johnny to vouch for him over at the gas station. He went in to Chief of Police's office and was in his office, and the chief of police did it. He used his power to help, allegedly help get this man the loan. Walked out of the polygraph, disappeared. Case over. What happened to it? What happened to the case? Why did Joe Hendricks? It is in the report. Special Agent Kimberly Williams from GBI turned it over to the district attorney. Why didn't it go to the grand jury? How did it stay out of the grand jury's hands? Why did the grand jury not try to return 2 true bills and indict him on felony charges? Why did he not go to court? Why is he able to run for sheriff of Blue Ridge today? And don't forget, Blue Ridge City Council is under investigation currently by Gerard and Davis, and one department is in deep investigation, and sources say that's the Blue Ridge Police Department. I am your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. Now, I'm going to take a brief break. When I come back, George is going to have the reins. I am going to do an interview, and then I will be back with some final thoughts about 9:50. So we're going to take a break now. I'm your host, BKP. Go read the article yourself. Read the article yourself, okay? Period. Go read it yourself, and then see what you think. FetcherNews.com, and we will talk about it throughout the week. I don't know if the DA can open the case back up or not. Lonnie, take us to break.